We have been meeting as the Committee of Principals under the auspices of NEDLEC, composed of representatives from government, the form of ministers who deal with these economic matters, as well as business leaders representing their business associations, and trade unions being represented by 3 trade union federations, COSATU, NACTU, as well as FEDUSA, and community formations who represent various community organizations in our country. And we've spent the bulk of the afternoon today on a Sunday discussing matters that have been the subject of debate over almost 2 years. The first one that we had to deal with was the issue of labor stability, and we had specifically to deal with the issue of how best do we as South Africans, when we have to deal with the issues of strikes, make sure that our strikes are peaceful and they're the types of strikes that finally lead to agreements being reached by the representatives of workers as well as businesses. The other matter that we had to deal with was the issue of the national minimum wage. Just to recap, when we started this process of the national minimum wage, it was aimed at reducing income poverty in South Africa, beginning to address the issue of inequality in our society. The panel has asked that I should put forward that magical number which they have arrived at, and they will then go into the process of elucidating it and explaining it in full. The panel are proposing that the national minimum wage in South Africa, which will have national coverage, with a few exceptions which they will deal with, should start off at 3,500 Rand per month. We are urging towards an agreement through the negotiation process that is part of this NEDLEC process. The timelines that are set out in the document, are they firm? No. These are proposals. These are recommendations from the panel of advisors. Because they are still recommendations, we still need to engage with them. Will the unions agree to this? Will business agree to this? Will government agree to this? That is still something that is going to be determined. What is clear now is that because we now have clear proposals, we no longer going in different directions. We now have a process that can lead us to an agreement. Up to 47% of working people in South Africa earn below 3,500. And that amounts to almost 7 million South Africans who are working today. So is 3,500 that low? That is something that we're going to discuss. But at the same time, we've also said it should not be too high as to lead to job destruction. Now, this is the key question that all of us have to ask ourselves as South Africans. Where do you want to peg a national minimum wage? Because you've almost got a contradiction. It's a contradiction in terms. You may want a high figure of 20,000, but at the same time you'll wipe out a lot of jobs. Some may say this 3,500 is too high. If they say so, it basically means forever and in a day, the bulk of working people in South Africa will remain in wage poverty. Is that what we want? The answer has to be no. So you then have to strike a balance that is going to address the issue of wage poverty, of inequality, And in doing all this, as we are going to engage in discussions, we've also had to engage in international benchmarking. The research processes that have ensued have taken us all over the world. They've taken us to Brazil, they've taken us to Malaysia, they've taken us even to Germany, the UK, the US, you name it, we've been there. So the research reports are there, and the panel dealt with all those research reports. Truth be told, many South Africans today, even those who are working, are still classified as people who are poor. And clearly, this is something that should worry all of us. Should people who are earning a wage still be classified as being poor? In many of our minds, the answer should be no. So therefore, we need to use this as a tool, as an instrument to lift the wages of working people in our country. And this gives us a chance. We will have to see where finally we end up in terms of agreement. We may well end up higher, we may well end up at this level, but that is still going to be under discussion.